You're on.
Okay, thank you, Ernie. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the September 10th, 2020 budget workshop. I'll convey the meeting at 6:10. We're running a little late, but we're going to get going here. So if you could just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're going over the budgets. This is the last night that we're going to look at them. We're going to have a meeting with the budget committee next Saturday, and we gotta find some money tonight. And the town puts us in charge of the potential of affairs of the town, and unfortunately we gotta make some cuts, and it's just what the voters have asked for. So I'm gonna move forward to let Dale, he's just gonna go over his budget real quick, so he doesn't have to sit through this whole budget.
Well, Ernie's getting the PowerPoint, but I can walk you through it if you want. But
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have my budget there in front of you?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the last page
Okay.
of the,
Yes, last but not least. Contract services, those are just what they say they are. It's my contract plus Avatar contract, so they're, that's what they are. The only thing in there, it has the flexibility is I don't know what you're doing for, if anything, for COLA or merit. I did put in what you guys had used in the prior years, so if that's not gonna happen, let me know, or let Ernie tell me, but that's built into this number, so,
well, we've been we haven't been doing the COLA, so 2%. So, so that'll move us a little bit.
yeah, so just, was 2% merit, is that what you're
Yeah.
going with at this point in your budget cycle?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the numbers and get them changed on the budget.
Okay.
It's only gonna be a few dollars, but I'll get that changed out. No change in legal notice and ads, $100. Electric, it's been running, I got 13,500 this year. Looks like that's pretty consistent. 2018 was like 13.5, 2019 was 13.8, so this year it looks like about 13.4, so it's pretty consistent, so I think it's a good solid number there. I talked to Pat, he told me what the rate for the town was, and 2018 and 19 we used about 1,000 gallons of heat, so 2020 is a little bit too early for me to extrapolate what that's gonna be, but I did use 1,000 gallons for heat down there at $1.69. The water bill has been $284. I don't know if there's any plans on any increases in that, but I put $284 in there per quarter, so that's pretty straightforward. Telephone, I think it's up a little bit. Both First Light and Consolidated went up a few dollars on their monthly bills, but that's all it is. So it's just a few dollars there. He wants to get me out of here. Supplies, historically from 2015 to 2018, my average was like $7,459. In 2019 it was like $7,292. So again, 2020 is a little bit too early to tell, but at least over the last 4 years it's been around $7,500 for for supplies, that's chemicals, lab supplies, hardware, all those types of things that I have to have down there at the wastewater plant. So that number is pretty solid, I would say, pretty consistent. Postage, we've always used $100 as a nominal number. Sometimes they use some of it, sometimes they don't. Buildings and grounds, I've got $8,000 in there. I just had the crack sealing done on the pavement down there. I'd like to do a seal coat next year on the pavement. Plus, I'm trying to get the back side of the building re-sided. So, my average has been about $5,000 a year just on my normal stuff. So I added in the $3,000 for labor to side the back side of that building if I can find somebody at reasonable rate. So I put in $8,000 for those things. That covers anything to do with the buildings and grounds repairs and that sort of thing. Equipment maintenance, I think I had increased that to $6,000 last year, but the default budget kept it at $4,000, and I put it back at $6,000 this year. Basically, the unknown there is always been, and it probably will always be, is whether I need a diver to go into the lagoons to make the air leak repairs and stuff. That's always a big, fairly large number. It's like $3,000 a day to have a diver come in and work that.
Probably worth every penny.
It is.
I wouldn't want to be doing
Plus,
that.
I want to have the submersible pumps at the Charles Street pump station taking a look at this year. I'm going to take one out at a time, have it go to the over to the dealer shop. They're going to go through it, check the bearings and the seals and all that stuff, and the impellers, and make sure they're all in good shape. So all of that is about, should be around $6,000. Equipment purchase is basically, I usually have to get like a chemical feed pump or something along those lines. I think I've been averaging about $500 a year. I put in $550 this year, I think. Yeah, I did. So it's up a little bit. Service line maintenance, I kept the same at 26. That's if we need to adjust any frames and covers out there in the streets. If there's any clogged sewer lines, for instance, any concrete repairs at the wastewater plant, that sort of thing. So $2,600 for that has been a fairly solid number for a number of years now. Permits and testing, I forget what I had. I think I used to have I used to be 8,000. I put that at 10,600 this year. I know it's a little bit of a jump, but if you remember, we're doing the total nitrogen testing came out in 2020. Wasn't budgeted for. I've been doing the tests. I've added those costs into that line for 2021. Everything else has been the same, the groundwater testing, all the reports, the dam fees, all the other testing is the same. So really the only thing there is the testing for TCAN, nitrates, total nitrogen calculation. I mean, just that alone is, I think, about, I had a note here someplace. I think that's about $50 a test. So I do that each week. So you got $2,500 just in total nitrogen testing. So that's why that number is up a little bit this year. So, and right here, mileage and travel is $1, just a placeholder. And you can do something with this one if you want. I've got miscellaneous. Usually keep it at $1 again as a placeholder. But I think I put 5,000 in this year only because we've hired the engineers. I didn't know if we might get into some of the liner testing requirements, maybe some sludge testing, those types of things may require some outside contractors to come in, or some services to come in and look at some of that stuff. So I put that in there, in case we need it. If we don't, I won't spend it, but, if you don't want me to put it in there, I won't. If you think you need to, again, my budget isn't part of the town budget per se, so it's not gonna affect your taxes or anything like that. But, I did put that in there, like I say, just in case we need to have some money there for this ongoing study we got going on with Wright Pierce now, so for the next year. So I put it in there so we'd have the money if we needed it. If we don't, I'll just deficit spend. It's gonna get spent whether the money's there or not, honestly, so.
Right.
But I thought 5,000 was at least a reasonable, and I think that it keeps us, what was that, about 97,000, so that keeps us, pretty close to our annual income. So haven't blown the budget out of the water with that, so it keeps us pretty close to our annual income. So I think we're good. We're not putting any money aside. Remember we talked about that
Mhm.
a while back. That's one of the things that Wright Pierce is going to look at is, once we start to look at the facility plan and some of the anticipated costs, what the town, the board going to look at for future, costs, and how we're going to spread those out over the sewer users and that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
so that'll be pending. But, so anyway, that's what I have.
Okay, so, I know this is paid by user fees.
Yep.
But Ernie, this budget does reflect, I mean, we put the money up front and then we get it back. That-
Yeah, it's offset by the revenues, in the sewer department, so this is just put on the warrant. But when you have, even though it's shown as part of the operating budget, it's offset by the revenue, on the revenue side of things, so it doesn't affect the tax rate whatsoever.
Right, no, I understand all that, I just, all right. Okay, do you guys have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, all right,
So I'll make an adjustment on the contract services part of it. Get a final number for that. The rest of it, you're all probably okay with at this point?
Yep.
Unless the budget committee sees something that they don't like, I guess? Okay.
well, like, we discussed about it, I mean, it's paid by user fees, so
Yeah.
it's not.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, yeah, we, it's our responsibility to, to look at these budgets, your budget, and,
Yeah.
it's under our preview, but,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
think
pretty
it's
close to
reason-
what it has been in the past. It's been
Yeah.
85,000, 90,000 or so, I mean, it hasn't gotten blown out of the water yet. See what the next year or two brings us, but,
Yeah.
maybe a shock, but we'll see, hopefully not, so.
Okay.
All
All right.
set?
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
Good night.
So, moving forward, so, I guess we'll just go through each budget, and, I've studied this all day today, and I've come up with some things, and if you guys have any input, but we need to find the default number, and it's gonna be tough for everybody. It's a pill that we all have to swallow, but, we have to kind of reset the town, and this is really the only way to do it, to move forward. And, so this is where we're at. So, did you guys find, so I'll start with the TA's budget. I really have nothing for the TA's budget. He's down on his budget, well, everybody's down pretty much, but, so he's down, like 13,000.
Oh, we're down $750 basically.
What,
That
on your
difference-
budget?
Yeah, see yeah.
Alright, well, hold on, I
Just
gotta look at,
understand the far right-hand, numbers there at the bottom, the right across from the percentages.
yeah,
Those are the amounts below the projected 2021 default budget. The ones that show the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget.
alright,
Yeah.
all right, I was looking at,
Okay.
I'm fine, all right, so he's down, $743. Do you guys have any questions about his budget?
Nope.
I'm sorry,
No, I'm good.
I don't.
Claudine?
Nope.
Okay. So the number that we have to reach is, was 28,000, Ernie, when I sat down with you?
Yeah, from here, so on,
2.
next to the last page here, 26,684 is the
Okay.
exact amount there, but of course it's an estimate,
Right.
you know,
So I'm just giving an idea. The tax collector, I really didn't find anything. Do you guys have anything, any questions about her budget?
No.
I just have an overall question when it comes to the increases in salary, because I don't know how that is conducted. You know, is there some type of a step for everybody, or how does that work typically?
Well, the departments that do have step plans are the police department and public works, both of which are pretty out of date. And both of those gentlemen are here, so they can definitely address them. So those have steps that are valid, but only at the years up to 2018. After that, when you got 2019 and 2020 default budgets, any kind of increases that were above those wage steps, which there weren't with the respective ones, I think they kept them at those legal levels. But for the rest of the town, there's not a step plan, and that's why it's important to get this step plan that we worked on last year finalized and up for a vote this year, so that if we do get this below the default budget and they adopt it, then everything is validated within the budget and you can move forward with the step plan. And right now, that step plan is designed to go up 2% increments per year. And that, I have made some changes to that to take out some of the components that we've talked about that probably would not be acceptable to the town. And that was having it automatically be adjusted by the consumer price index every year. That's out. It's just a straight 2%. I'll be able to finish that up over the weekend and get that out to people to look at. I want to get it out to staff first and have them double check it and make sure there's nothing else they want to change.
Okay.
But yeah, that's as far as that's why these wages that have been, given out over the past 2 years, like in this particular budget, that is part of the overall total you're trying to get, validated by getting the default budget, getting down below the default budget.
So essentially that's where they're supposed to be if the budgets were passed,
Well, that's where they are now.
or where they are now.
They are now, right. Yeah. So any of the raises that were given out over the last, you see since, I guess March of 2018, that weren't part of a wage plan, that was adopted by the town meeting body, or wasn't part of an overall budget that was adopted by the town meeting body, are not included in the default budget. So as you move forward in time, that balance internally erodes, your operating budget, because you pay them because the raises were given, but it takes away from something else.
And, fortunately, the raises that were given is, we had to retain the help that we had in Milton.
Mm-hmm.
We were losing help left and right. In order to retain our good help that we have, we had to give some raises. So that's why you see that in her salary line. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, so my question is then, do we have the part-time people coming? Are they coming back? Yes?
We just had a call today from one that's not coming back. But the ones that are budgeted for are working.
Okay. All right. That was my questions.
Okay?
Yep.
No worries. All set, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't see anything in that line, so on to the treasurer. I didn't see anything there. Do you guys have anything for that?
No.
For that?
I do not
You
know.
do not. Okay, supervisor, the checklist, these are all budgets that really haven't moved. This one's up to $128, sort of flatlined. Do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
I was just wondering, Karen, what was the increase in the postage?
We have to do the 2021 purge of the checklist. So every person that hasn't voted in 4 cycles has to get a letter sent to them. So, and there's, I'm trying to think what the number was last night, 3,400 plus people on the checklist right now.
Okay.
I think it's even higher than that. I just don't remember.
So will that be enough?
I don't know.
Oh.
If it isn't, the town has to pay it one way or the other.
Sure.
It's
Yep.
dictated by the Secretary of State's office, so no matter
Okay.
what it costs, we have to pay it.
Yep.
So the moderator has a flat budget. He's flatlined the budget, so are you guys all set with the moderator?
Yep.
Yes.
And the budget committee, they're down $165, so any questions or anything?
No.
No.
Okay. Trustees of the trust funds, it's the same, it flatlined it. So, are we all set there?
Yes. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
And assessing, do you have anything for assessing?
I don't know.
I do.
Okay.
The professional services,
Mm-hmm.
so there's an increase, is that, what would that be for?
That is split up in the GIS, and that would, that's been worked on the last year and a half. And it's a new system where before I had, a mapping company, such as Norway Plains, but now we're on a totally different scale. We got the GIS, it's on the internet, so there's been a charge increase
Okay.
for that, which all the departments can benefit from GIS. And it is, as far as updates for my office, it is mandated by the state
Okay.
each year.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So we're on to health insurance and that's where we're at really with the health nothing really but there or any, right?
Yeah, I mean, anything that you do there at this point, is gonna be reflected oppositely with the default budget, so it won't really make any difference.
Right.
So I don't, once we get new rates and, once you've done with this and made decisions on, positions and all that, then I can look at that.
Yeah.
Right now it is, I went back and checked it after we had our department head meeting the other day, and it is, budgeted. It doesn't cover all of the people that take the buyout option, which is the incentive for people not to take the insurance.
Yeah.
But there were 50% of them that were covered by the extra policies that were in there, so, I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. No matter what, it doesn't really impact your
Right.
the default budget
Yep.
piece of it.
So, on to government buildings. So, with the government buildings, I found $500 in the, and I know Pat's made a lot of concessions, but there's gonna be concessions for other people here too, but just $500 on the government, the vehicle fuel. You know, 'cause, you know, I know we just need to get to the number, all right, 'cause we need to reset the town and we need to move the town forward, and if we don't get to the default number, you know, we could do this for eternities. So it's, you know, we gotta reset the town and then start moving forward. So, you know, if we could, so I say bring that down to $4,000. I looked at what you used so far, and it's a bottom line budget, so, you know, it's $500. Every little bit is gonna help with the cuts that I propose. And these are my proposals, so I'll make a motion to move that line down to 4,000. Do I have a second?
Pat, what was the reason for that $500 increase in the vehicle fuels?
We've been using the pickups to plow more because the dump trucks have been broke down.
Yeah.
So I added a little bit just in case we had to pick up that pace a little bit more this year.
But you can use the other line, the fuel line. I mean, it's a bottom line budget, so, you know, we gotta get to that number, so, you know, I gotta, you know, start somewhere, so,
Probably for the record, I am $23,284 below default.
yeah, I know. But, I mean, like I said, this is gonna be a tough night, so, but we gotta do it. So my motion on the table is to move that down to 4,000 from 4,500.
Excuse me, Andy, what were you recommending, that if you needed that extra fuel, what line would that be under? Miscellaneous, or?
Well, the whole budget is a bottom line budget. So, you know, he could, you know, it's a bottom line budget, so, you know, it's $500. So, you know, that's my motion. I mean, if we don't start cutting somewheres, I mean, this whole night could just be wasted. And we
I know,
gotta.
but it is $500,
Yeah,
so
it's
I'm just
500.
saying,
It's
like,
just- yeah.
do we have to vote on that at this moment?
Yes, yep.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. I know it's tough, but, you know, it's just, unfortunately, you know, I wanna keep the morale, I want raises, moving forward, and you don't get raises without being under the default. The town, it does the town no good to be in a default budget, no good. So, this is just, you know, this is what we were elected to do, and it's a tough job, but, we gotta do what the voters have asked, and this is it, so moving on to the police department, the only thing I could find, was $1,000 out of his vehicle fuel line. To date, he's used He's got $15,000 in there today, he's used 6,000, so he has $9,000 left.
And we shut down everything for COVID for 3 months.
So your cars weren't on the road for 3 months,
Our cars were not stopping cars for almost a month and a half.
but they were on the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not stopping cars, so they're just driving around like a
Mhm.
regular civilian car. If
Chief,
you
I
look
know,
at the
I know,
last-
I know the whole night is gonna be tough for everybody, but,
Andy, you have to look at the last 5 years. You can't look at, if you look at the package I gave you, you look at the last 5 years.
mhm,
And I'm almost spending that $15,000. We used to have it at 20, we brought it back down because the cars were getting better gas mileage. If you look at last year, I think it was, what, maybe $5 under the $15,000, which was an actual average year. And so this year, you're gonna look at the fact that we've only spent a quarter of it in a year of COVID when we were not stopping cars because I put a stop on my guys from actually doing that part of the job so that we don't have cops out
mhm.
if somebody gets sick. That's terrible budget.
Chief, we are doing, we're doing our best, all right, to move the town forward. You know, it's not gonna be easy for any of us, but this is what the voters have asked for. We have to get below the default budget, or nothing ever is gonna pass, okay? And nothing ever is gonna move forward. No one's ever gonna get any raises if we don't, if we don't do what's necessary tonight and get below the default budget. I mean, help me out. You're $2,000 over?
$2,700, yep.
Okay, help me out. Find $1,000.
Where do you want me to find $1,000?
I don't know.
Because next year, probably as of January 1st, I'm gonna have to find a lot more than $2,000. Because as of January 1st, the mandatory training for police departments is gonna
Mhm.
go from 8 hours per officer to 24 hours per
Because
officer every
because
year.
at the beginning of the budget season, I asked for bottom flat line budgets.
And I can't physically do that.
Unfortunately, it's not me. It's the town of Milton.
Okay, and I can't physically do that. When I go from 8 hours of mandatory training per officer to 24 hours of mandatory training per officer, that's 24 hours that I have to send the officer to training. Then it's 24 hours I have to backfill with overtime to cover those 24 hours per officer for 8 officers.
I'm not arguing with you, Chief. You're probably 100% right. But, I could let this budget go to the budget committee, okay? And I let it go to town vote. Nothing will pass. Leave your budgets all the way they are, but nothing is gonna pass.
Put my budget on its own standalone warrant article, and I guarantee I can sell it to the resident.
Well, that's unfortunately not the way it works. That wouldn't be fair to the rest of the town, but as of right now, you're $2,700 over, and the highway department made huge concessions. They just made another one. I mean, we gotta find a few bucks. I'm sorry, but do you guys have anything?
Nope.
mean, I know that, you know, all these budgets are like, alright. Alright, the fire department, I'll go back, if we have to, we'll go back. The fire department, I talked to the chief today. He has dropped his budget. He's dropped his budget from it's just hard to read. So it was $487,713. He's dropped it down to $475,820. It's around $12,000.
Did he say where?
Yeah, it's in his full-time line and his part-time line, and when you change those two lines, he moved his part-time line down to 106, his full-time line down to 140, and then it just changes the FICA and the retirement and the Social Security and the Medicare. It changes all those a little bit, where we come up with almost to $12,000. And then,
I'm sorry, one more time. So full-time 106?
no, full-time, he changed it to 147.94, and part-time, he changed it to 106. So,
That's still a pretty big jump. So what was his reasoning for part time from 80,000 to now 106?
it's paying the I mean, the part-timers. Ernie, do you have anything on?
Yeah, he pulled the call fighters line up into the part-time line. As I recall, I think it was just easier for him to administer that with the payroll company and so forth. So the line down at the bottom for fire department on call was 26,000. If you see, look down there, it's 0 now, and that's what he's looking at.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But he had it at 0.
That's what
It was at 0, the on-call.
The on-call, right, originally in the budget, it had been asked why it had gone up from, let me skip to that budget, excuse me. It's 80,000 to 115, was what it had gone up to originally, so, what is it, 20, 30, some odd, so I mean, that's increased, but I mean, that was, as I recall, where that money went to, but, I can pull up the PowerPoint that he gave us.
I mean, if you want, I can call the chief, put him on speaker. If that would make it easier, he can explain it.
I just don't, it was proposed at 0, and then to reduce the part-time, he moved the 26,000
All right, I'm just gonna put you on
to the
speaker.
106.
All right.
I don't understand that move, I guess.
So I got the chief on speaker, all right?
Okay.
he's working tonight in Rochester, so. All right, chief, you're on speaker.
Okay.
So Claudine has a question.
Okay.
Sure, I was just wondering, so your on-call part-time is budgeted for 0, and then your new proposed part-time is at 106. And my
Yep.
understanding is that there's a move of the 26,000 to the 80,000 to give us the 106.
Correct.
So, I'm trying to understand if it was at a 0 before, why is it added to the part-time now? No?
If it was at, say that one more time, if it was
Well,
at zero
I see
before.
the budget was at a 0 for that on part-time, is that, are you combining that, is that what that is?
Yeah, he
It was, yeah, it was at 26,000 and I moved the 26,000 up to that line that was 80 to make it 106.
Right, the 0 you're looking at.
He just made 2 lines into 1.
Right.
Right. Well, I see a 0, that was what was on the budget.
Right, that's.
So he's just combining the two now.
Right.
So before, he wasn't gonna have that? Is that what it was before, you weren't gonna have that line?
Before it was 115. So I basically took about 8 hours of part-time coverage out to bring it down to 106, which is just the amount that the 2 lines combined equal. So there's not an increase in that line.
Okay, I guess I just don't understand, because it shows in the previous budget before your change for tonight, that 26,000 was not going to be in the budget.
It was moved to the 4220 120 line in the previous my original proposal, and I added 9,000 to it.
So it was 115,000.
So it was 115. So what I did was I took the 9,000 out, which equates to about 8 hours of additional coverage that I was proposing. So I took the new 8 hours of coverage out,
Okay,
and I just left it as combined
okay.
to that.
I guess because it looks like it was just removed, like it was not going to be there, but you've just combined it.
Correct. I combined it and added 9,000, which was the way I came up with that number was the part-time salary for the assistant chief, the average of all the call firefighters, callback pay, and 2 48-hour position or 2 24-hour positions, and that's how I came up with the 115. So to get the budget down, I just took 8 hours out, which basically level funds that part-time line by moving the 26,000 up to it. So I essentially get the part-time assistant chief as it was, the call firefighter pay as it was in 40 hours of coverage instead of 48.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
So we're down,
And then as far as the full-time line, I calculated that originally on what I typically pay for the average amount of overtime per employee per month, which is coming back for training and calls, covering shifts when I can't get a part-time person to cover it, so they don't get first refusal. The part-timers get first refusal, and as a last resort, the full-timers get overtime to cover shifts. And that was 24 hours per employee per month, and I cut 2 hours out just to try to get that down a little bit more. And that's how I saved the $2,000 from the full-time line, and which is another 500 out of the retirement line.
okay,
But that ends up putting it under what I typically, less than what I typically spend. So again, that was a move to get the budget down, not a move based on any extra money that was in that line.
I
I'm
appreciate
just
it.
I'm just gonna have to really keep an eye on it, that's all. But eventually it'll probably end up going back in there, or try to get it back in there at some point. The 24 hours of overtime wasn't an arbitrary number that I picked out of the sky, I guess I'm trying to say. That was actually calculated based on averages.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else while I'm here?
Matt, do you have anything?
Yeah, building maintenance.
Yep.
So it's up $1,005. I mean, it's a fairly new building, and I see over here police doesn't have a building maintenance line. What's the reasoning for that $1,000 jump?
So basically there's certain systems in there that need service annually. So the sprinkler system needs to be tested annually. The vehicle exhaust system needs to be need an annual PM, and the generator gets an annual or biannual PM, which is required to maintain the warranty for the generator, and it's good practice on top of that. But those were added to the building maintenance budget because I was dealing with the contractors that were taking care of that. So rather than trying to go through me to go through Pat and put it in his budget, it was just easier to show it all in one spot. And I believe, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, the generator maintenance for your building is in Pat's budget.
My maintenance stuff is in Pat's budget already. The generator stuff, all of my maintenance stuff is in your budget.
Okay. All right, thanks.
So we can put some of that stuff into Pat's budget, but when those things got added, it was just easier, since I was the one making the contacts and setting up the service. It was just easier to have a separate line there than increasing government buildings.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
And then just the reason we added $1,000 was this year in particular we had to do a sensor for the overhead doors. The doors weren't closing, so that's been fairly common. Had to do it a couple of times since we've been in the building, and that was like $900. But again, it's one of those things that it's a lot easier for us to call and say, hey, come fix this, and then I have the money in my budget, as opposed to trying to jump through 3 different people to get permission to spend money in a budget that we needed to fix one way or the other. And we tried to increase it a couple times, a little bit incrementally over the last few years, but again, we're always trying to shave pennies, and it's never made it into a budget that's passed. So that's why it's 2,000, or it's been 2,000 because of the default budgets, and I tried to get the extra 1,000 so we have a little bit to play with in case something happens.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to take it out, I mean, that's fine too. No matter what happens, we'll have to fix it, whether I shave it from someplace else or coordinate something with Pat to pay for some of these things. But that's up to you guys. I just know his government buildings maintenance line is really, really tight as well.
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, he has a lot of unknowns, but no, that's fine. That's fine.
I just feel comfortable having a little bit of money in case something happened that I can just take care of it. As far as like in the overhead door was the example from this year, that was $900 and something. So despite it being new, these things happen occasionally. But
Are you all set, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
You all set with the fire chief?
Yes, I am, thank you.
All
all
right.
right,
Thanks.
thanks guys.
Have a good night.
If you need anything else, give me a shout.
All right.
All right, bye.
Okay, so his budget's down around, was it around 12,000, Ernie, when we talked?
Well, it's from 487.7 to 475.8.
All right. Do you have anything else on that?
Pat, are you able to absorb that $1,000? We can cut it out of his.
How much do you guys want me to take? I mean,
I'm just asking,
I
Pat.
just, well, you
I-
asked now, if you don't mind, I'd like to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys asked me when I presented my budget to come in at default or below. I went back and I made huge cuts, I eliminated positions, I cut out services, I cut my transfer station hours by 1 day. Three total people out of my budget, you just cut another $500 out of me. You're trying to make a budget, am I the guy that's gonna take the whole hit tonight? I mean, cause if we are, let's just go there and get it done. I mean, this is crazy. I gave you guys almost $100,000. How much more can I go? You're handcuffing me. I can't do the things that the public's gonna ask me to do now. You'll find out when we start plowing snow, when the transfer station's closed on Friday, and the different things start coming along, the kids can't walk to school because the sidewalks aren't done, because we don't have the manpower. So how much more am I gonna take? That's what I'm asking.
Well,
You guys gotta either make cuts someplace else, or you just do it. You're the ones in charge. You make the cut, you say, I wanna cut here, then make the stinking cut, they gotta live with it.
mm-hmm. So is that a cut you wanna make out of the fire station's budget?
Yep.
Do you have a motion?
I got a motion. I make a motion to cut that $1,005 out.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Planning and code,
Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion?
yes.
Maybe save us all significant time in this meeting? Go to outside appropriations and cut everything that doesn't have anything to do specifically with this town. The only thing we keep in there is the food pantry in Wakefield, and the DARE item.
Well-
Those are items that are specific to this town.
No, I
That'll drop you $14,000, and you're at your $26,000 right there.
right, no, and I appreciate your offer, I will get to that. But the outside appropriations, a lot of those outside appropriations do have something to do with the residents in Milton. But I'll get there, okay? But I do appreciate that, and we'll move right along and we'll get right down there. So, planning and public, planning and codes. Does anybody have anything on planning and codes? 'Cause I don't.
No.
Claudine? Anything?
What page? 13. Right here.
And if you have something you'd like to talk about, Clint, I mean,
Well, I just think that when people look at this, they see these salary increases. And I understand that there was things that happened because of this and we have to somehow absorb it. But I think that this is the biggest problem that we have.
mm-hmm.
And,
But-
I mean, that's what I see in a lot of these areas, and I'm not sure how that's gonna be accepted for the people that are gonna look at this budget. Especially now.
No, I know, and
Especially now when
Yeah,
there are people
and-
not working and they're not getting any pay and they're not getting increases. So I
Right.
think that's the hardest part
right, but
for me to understand, much less anybody else that doesn't really understand what's going
Right.
on.
and unfortunately, we can't do anything with those salary lines. And that's why we,
So is that overtime for that full-time person?
on the planning and code,
Yes.
yeah, that's our full-time planning and code. And then, the part-time salary line is, that's code. That's code enforcement.
Right.
Yep.
So are they, so who's the overtime, for both of them, or?
Yeah, that's
One's
overtime that's for meetings. He has to go to meetings during the week.
Mhm.
That's budgeted into that. He takes minutes and for different committees.
And like with anything like that, I mean, if you cut that and just, cut the hours during the week, then you lose that extra administrative person in the office for whatever amount of time you lose at night meetings. So, if on the weeks that he had 6 hours of meeting time or whatever, and he went, had to go home on Friday after 2 hours, then you're losing somebody else in the office who are already kind of short-handed, so that's why we have that there.
Okay.
Okay. So planning and code, planning, the planning board, it's the same. So, we all set there?
Yep.
Okay. The zoning board, they're the same. Are we all set there?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Conservation Commission, I looked at their legal defense line, they haven't done anything this year, it's still the same. So I'm proposing to cut that down to $2,000 from $2,500. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
Aye.
And on the printing, from 500 to 250. It's tough through the whole town, so, these are just little budgets, so I'll take a cut on that for $250. Do I have a motion? My motion's $250. Second?
Yep, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so on to highway. So on vehicle fuels, so Pat's here, but it went from 5,500 to 7,000. My proposed is 6,000. $1,000 cut, but it's a bottom line budget, and again, if he comes short, I look to see what he's used year to date, and so my proposal is to cut that $1,000. Do I have a second?
Not for me.
Okay. And my proposal on his diesel fuel, proposed to cut it 2,000, from 35,000 to 33, because if you look, he's only used, $9,000. He still has 25,000 left, and like I said, it's a bottom line budget. He can move the fuel around if he has to. He still has $26,000 left in that line. So, I don't think it's gonna hurt if we cut a couple $1,000 out of that fuel line. So that's my motion. Do I have a second?
Not for me.
Okay, we'll move along. Solid waste, I have nothing. Do you guys have anything
Nope.
on solid waste?
Do not.
Okay, so outside appropriations. On the outside appropriations, on the Stratford cap, I made a motion, well, I'd like to cut 1,000 out of that from 7250 to 6250. The Stratford community, Stratford cap, they help the residents. Do you have that letter, Ernie, from Stratford cap? For what?
It's in, it's in there somewhere, I have to go in and, I mean, you want me to go?
Well, can you explain some of the things they do for the residents in town?
Let me go get the letter, so I got some specifics.
Okay. The homeless center for Stratford County, I was gonna bring that down to $500. I mean, most of these outside appropriations, I mean, they do things for Milton.
Yes, but if we need to reset, we need to focus on what we can have for our services.
But we have a lot of elderly people in town that rely on these services. And, we can't forget about them neither.
Were many of these services even going on still? I know Meals on Wheels stopped for some time. Is that picked up or?
But I'm sure it is. I mean, a lot of elderly people in Milton use Meals on Wheels. Do I have the exact number? No. But just to eliminate that whole line, Meals on Wheels would be.
I didn't say
No.
to eliminate the line.
Right.
I'm just saying that
Right.
if they're not offering the services currently, I'm just wondering, are they even receiving these services?
Right. Unfortunately.
And maybe they can have a reduction at this
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, no, I haven't got to that line yet, and if you wanna make a
No,
reduction, you can.
I'm just speaking randomly.
Yep, that's fine.
I don't know
Yeah.
who uses it, how many, of any of these actually.
Well, last year, for instance, and probably years prior, you've invited people in. You do get letters, I don't have the one from Stratford Cap, the ones I have are from Stratford Nutrition and Meals on Wheels and from, court-appointed special advocates for children in New Hampshire, those are the two I've got for this year.
So, I mean, for now, I'm even fine cutting Stratford cap down 2,000 to 5250. Do I have a second? Or does anybody else have, anything they wanna add to that? To eliminate the line, I don't think we should be doing that, cause I know for a fact that this, the Milton residents, use Stratford cap, so.
Cut it. I'd cut it down $2,000.
So my motion was to cut it 2,000.
My motion is to cut it down to $2,000. Homeless center, 500. Haven, 250. AIDS, 200. Cornerstone VNA.
Well, the Visiting Nurse Association, well, I was gonna cut it 1,000. I mean, you know, again, the elderly in Milton use Cornerstone VNA.
I understand that, Andy, but we gotta find money somewhere.
No, I know, but they, you know, they shouldn't, you know, have to take, you know,
Could this be on like a warrant or something that we can do later? We cut it out of the budget?
I mean, you could, but,
Where we would actually express to the voters as to how many people may need it, like we can look into how many people actually are utilizing this and to what benefit.
unfortunately though, we're going into the ninth inning and the second out, and, you know, we're gonna, fortunately, we just don't have time this year. I mean,
Time for what?
cause we're gonna be going into in front of the budget committee,
Right, so if you reduce it or cut it and put it in a warrant and see how the voters, make it up to the voters to decide.
Yeah, no, I don't mind cutting them, I don't, you know, putting, first of all, we don't want 60 warrant articles neither, because, you know.
Yeah, but they're not gonna accept a budget. I mean, I don't know, maybe you have some other areas you wanna cut, but to me, I don't know how many people in our town actually utilize the services here. $27,000 is a lot. That could take care of our budget problem.
Right.
And maybe we need the 10 items here on a 10 item of different warrants, so people can decide what services they want. I think that, I mean, it's nice to have, but we're not in a nice place right now,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And, if we can't take out and manage the salary issues, I think we're gonna have to worry about this part right here.
Yep.
And let
No,
the
I-
voters decide
yeah.
what services that they want for the people in the town.
That is exactly what the town that I used to work for did.
Mm-hmm.
And they had them on warrants every year. They had all of them in one warrant, as a matter of fact. They usually always pass. But I mean, at that point, you're taking it out of the operating budget and you're giving the voters a choice to make that decision themselves.
I mean, I just think that this is a better idea than nitpicking all the other, especially where Pat
Well-
has really reduced his budget.
Yeah,
and
no, I'm.
I think that this would be the place to do this and put it out to the voters to decide.
I mean,
We can't support it.
well, you know, I know both food pantries, you know, are really used by, you know, the Milton residents. The Revelation Food Pantry. But if that's your motion, if you wanna put a motion out there.
Is that a
and-
motion?
And put it put it on a warrant article.
Mr. Chairman, call
Yes.
to order first.
Yes.
You already have two motions out.
Yeah, no, I was gonna redact them if she was gonna make a motion.
We have to deal with
So-
those before she can make the motion.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
So I was out of the room where the two motions are on the floor.
I'm sorry.
I said I was out of the room, so I didn't.
Yeah.
what did
No,
you-
I made a motion to take Stratford Cat down to 2,000, down to 5250, and I started at the homeless center for 500. So I will redact those two motions from the floor. And if there's any other motions to be entertained.
So I motion to move outside appropriations. I'm not really sure how you want me to say this, cause I'm gonna.
You wanna remove
What
it
do
from
you
the whole
want?
budget?
Well, it's $27,000. I don't know which ones are the best ones to hold on to. Do you have any suggestions?
Sure I do.
Okay,
I certainly would not remove, if you wanna put, you know, like Stratford Cap, the homeless center, age response, Cornerstone VNA, I would leave DARE, the 1,500 for the schools. Are they gonna do DARE this year, chief?
You can take DARE out this year, cause we didn't end up doing DARE at the end of the year last year, so we have that money from this year's budget.
Okay, so you'd be all set this year?
$1,500 out, and we'll try to put it back in next year.
Well, that's the problem.
Well, if we don't put it back in next year, then we
So
deal with that.
I would say leave DARE, because once it's gone, it's tough to get back. If you wanna put those on a warrant article, it's tough to take Meals on Wheels. I mean, you know, the elderly here in town, you know,
Do we have any idea how many elderly are using that program?
no.
I do have the letter from them if you'd
Mhm.
like to. Service provided to Milton residents, 35 Milton residents, 16 per day in feeding. 4,009 nutritious meals, and then 2,883 safety checks and support services. See, town support provides meal for town residents. Cost of providing Meals on Wheels to Milton residents is $34,077. We're asking the town of Milton to contribute $1,500.
So, for me, I'd leave it.
I'm sorry, there was noise. So you said there were 35
35
residents?
Milton residents. It says on average, they're feeding 16 Milton residents per day.
Okay.
So for me, I would leave that 1,500, and so that's 3,000. And I would leave the American Legion, Post 61, that's right here in Milton. They use that to buy flowers and stuff, and flags or whatever. And then I would leave Wakefield Resource Center, Wakefield Food Pantry, and I was gonna leave the Revolution Food Pantry request, I was gonna bring that down to 4,000. So if we bring that down to 4, 5, 6, 7, 7,500, 75, and 3 is 10,500. So you could take out 10,500, you could take out $17,102 and put it on a warrant article. And if you want the residents to vote, you know, they can vote on it and see if that's what they wanna.
Can you go through one more time and tell me which ones you're keeping?
Okay. Which ones I'm taking
Keeping.
or keeping?
Which ones you're keeping?
The Revolution Food Pantry, and I was gonna bring it down to 4,000. Wakefield Food Pantry, to leave it at 2,500. Wakefield Resource Center at 1,000. The American Legion Post for 800. Meals on Wheels for 1,500, and DARE for 1,500.
So I have a question. If we're supporting the Revolution, which is in town, why are we supporting Wakefield?
Because a lot of Milton residents go to Wakefield. I know that for a fact, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it would be detrimental to the Wakefield Food Pantry to take that 2,500 from them when they're serving a lot of Milton residents. I don't have the number in front of me, but I know it's a lot. And the Wakefield Resource Center is where, you know, the elderly go and get lunches and stuff.
Can I add something? They have
Mhm.
to pay for those meals. They don't get anything for free up there.
From the,
And they're getting supplemented from the state by serving the Milton
Okay.
residents.
all right, so I'll remove $1,000 from the Wakefield Resource Center, but I know for a fact I would not do anything with the Food Pantry. So there's another $1,000 from the Wakefield, and put it on a warrant article and see if the residents wanna vote for it.
In regards to the DARE program, is that 1,500 utilized for that full amount?
What's that?
The DARE program, the 1,500, is that typically utilized every year?
We use it to buy the end of class awards, end of class certificates, end of class T-shirts for the kids, and then the 2 DARE fairs for the kids who do that win the essays.
Yeah, I'd keep it because, you know, it's just to fight to try to get it back. I mean, that's a program that I support 100%. So, my own opinion. So that right there is, would be 18,000 out of there, Ernie?
It's, sorry, I went down to the bottom. Okay, so you're down $12,302. We'll default on that. So the overall, yeah, so that's, you're down 12,302.
So we're at 12,000 right now? We're at 12,000
What's your question? You reduced it by 12,000, your total budget's in there 10,300 right now.
Okay,
Yeah, 1,500 for DARE, 1,500 for Meals on Wheels, 800 for the American Legion, 2,500 for Wakefield Resource Center, and 4,000 for the Revolution Food Pantry.
okay, so what's the total?
10,300.
Okay. So my motion is to, put a new balance, to the outside appropriations to be 10,300, and the remaining, outside appropriations to put on a warrant article.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to welfare. So, the welfare, I'll make a, Ernie's dropped it down quite a bit already. It's down $19,000. I'll make a motion to, he's got the rent down to 22,000. I'll make a motion to bring it down to 21,000. We talked about it earlier and he's all right with that. So that's my motion.
Well, can you repeat your motion?
My motion is just to bring the rent and mortgage down to 21,000.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the amount again.
Oh, 21,000.
21,000, okay.
Yeah.
So yes, he's seconded.
Okay. Anything on recreation? I'm all set. Anything that? Claudine?
Nope, I'm good.
Anything on the library? I'm all set.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Economic Development Committee, they're down $1,000, almost $1,000. Are you all set, Matt?
Yep.
Claudine?
Yes.
And, so Ernie, where's that leave us?
10,500 below what we think the default budget will be. So, everything like the fuel lines with
Yeah,
Pat,
so, I'm gonna go back to, because, I mean, I know Pat has done a good job. I'm just trying to, you know, get to that magic number. So I'll make a motion to bring his vehicle fuel line back to 7,000. So I'll redact my first motion, which was his vehicle fuel line to 6,000, and I'll bring it back to 7,000.
is that for that wasn't.
That's for highway?
failed For lack of a second.
That's for highway.
I don't think we
Yeah,
voted
that,
on that one, right?
Oh no, we
It was the
didn't vote
500.
on that. I'm sorry.
It was
I
the
apologize.
500
And buildings and grounds,
and fuel.
Yeah, buildings and grounds.
government buildings,
Yeah.
whatever.
I apologize.
yeah, so there was, I mean, what I have are no seconds on, either, vehicle or diesel fuel in highway.
Yeah, they never passed.
Okay.
I'll just bring his government vehicle fuels back to 4,500. So I'll react. My first motion was 4,000, and I'll take that off the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
And my new motion is to leave his vehicle fuel lines at 4,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And, I mean, on the fire department, the thing is, I mean, what Nick has said is, on the equipment maintenance line. No, it was the building maintenance line. We took $1,000 out of that, but that was right to the penny on maintaining the three things that Nick talked about. And so Pat would have to find the $1,000 in his budget, and he's kind of made it very clear that he's tight. So I'd like to put that $1,000 back into his budget for that maintenance line. What?
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
How are we $10,000 below the default number? We haven't I don't believe we've taken $35,000 out of this budget. You took 12,000 out of Nick's budget, and you took 12,000 out of outside appropriations. That's only $24,000. You haven't taken another $10,000 out of any other line.
Where are we at,
is it because it's the reduced amount from the fire department? That's, maybe that's.
Hold on, chief, we're just looking, okay? So we-
That's not, it's not
so we-
listed,
So we took 17,000 out of outside appropriations,
You took 17 out of it?
yes,
Okay, so you're at 29.
okay?
There's 7,000 total out of welfare. Was there anything that was in the original budget?
Yeah, we took $17,302.
Okay.
Uh,
That's for the other 5,000.
So, are we in good standing?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's, so I redacted my motion for government buildings fuel to go back to 4,500. Well, I was at 4,000 and my new motion is to bring it to 4,500 back to what he requested. Do I have a second?
Yeah, we already did that.
We did?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got confused when the chief. Okay. Oh, so I was on the fire department. What's that?
Yep.
Okay, that's where I was. So my motion is to, well, my motion is to really leave that line as it is, but, there's a motion already to remove the $1,000. But that's what that, that's exactly what that cost to get them things maintained. So,
I'm sorry, where are we at with the other ones removed? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, is it, you just added back in. I have to go backtrack and see what you have done here, because, I had not subtracted that $1,000 here, and, so I just did, because that motion was made by Matt, to subtract that by 1,005, so I just subtracted that, and it's $11,017, below what we have as an estimate for the default limit.
so,
I say leave it as is. If we're $11,000 under, leave it where it's at.
I mean, Pat, are you gonna be able to absorb that $1,000?
Probably not.
What's that?
Well, I mean, we gotta maintain the
Is it
sub,
a contract?
No,
It's not a contract?
not by the sounds of it, was it?
I think it is.
Is it?
If it's a contract, then it has to go in the budget, it's a default item. So whether you put it in his budget or mine, you gotta raise that money someplace if it's a contract.
Well, if it's contracts, we'll put it back in.
Well, I don't wanna sit here and say that it is a contract or not, but it's really maintaining a building that we paid a lot of money for. And,
How I get in trouble, you guys keep asking me to do this and do this and do this, and I just never get any money in return to do it. There's no way, I can't, I cut that budget over $23,000 already, and I'm down to bare bones. I mean, I can't even maintain cemeteries now. I don't see it.
Okay. So, where are we at, Matt?
I guess we're putting that $1,000 back in next budget.
Okay. Do you wanna rescind your last motion
Yeah, I'll rescind that motion to pull that $1,005 out.
and do I have a new motion?
I'll make a motion to put it back in.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, so do we have anything else? Ernie, do you have anything?
No, tonight was strictly for this.
I'm sorry?
Said tonight was strictly for this, I'll make the adjustments and I'll send it out, to everybody, for next Saturday's joint meeting.
I did have to mention that, for the task force, we talked about this last night where they're requesting a member of the BOS. I've been going to the meetings, so I'm just
Mhm.
assuming that that would be fine, but does that have to be voted in? That there's a representative on the task force?
Yeah, do you mind?
Yes.
Do you mind, Dawn?
No.
Do you, okay, so I'll make a motion to have Claudine, be on the task force.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so with the budgets, anything else with the budgets? Ernie, nothing? Nothing. All right,
I
thank,
mean, the one thing that, the warrant articles are the thing next, and I've started plugging numbers in. I know it's preliminary because you haven't gotten the CIP from the, planning board yet, but just to keep from missing anything, like what happened last year with the boat ramp, I'm just putting those top 10 recommendations that they put into the warrant, articles that they belong in, and, I can bring drafts just to give to you, at your regular meeting on Monday, not for any review, but just to give them to you to look at,
okay. No, I just wanna say that, the town has made a lot of concessions this year. We're below our default budget. And hopefully, any other entities in town, really, we're all trying to do what the voters have asked here, and is to, we have a tax cap now that, has kind of, it's what the voters have, they voted for it, so it's not gonna be easy trying to, keep with the services that, we've always had here. It's just the way it is, unfortunately, so, we'll have to figure that all out, but, hopefully the rest of the town can do the same thing we're doing, and, this is what the voters have asked for, and it's only fair, really. So the only thing I have in closing is cause we won't have a selectmen's meeting, well, it's Monday, but they're doing a cleanup at the park there in Milton Mills,
Wombat.
the Womback.
Yep.
Thank you.
10 to 2.
Yep, 10 to 2. So I just wanted to throw it out there to any resident that is interested in wanting to help clean up the Womback Park in Milton Mills, from 10 to 2.
On what day?
Sunday. the
Sunday.
Thank you.
I was just reading it tonight on Facebook, so I said I'd give them a shout out. It's nice that, we have community spirit, and the community wants to do the right thing and keep Milton Mills as beautiful as it is. So, yeah, Pat?
Can I hear what the final number is for the budget? I didn't hear. what it
Okay,
was.
no worries. Can you give him that, Ernie?
For the overall operating budget, Pat,
Yeah,
um,
with the cuts made tonight, where are we at?
4,387,689.
300?
4,387,689.
Okay. I know it's been a contentious night, but, and I apologize, but I'm glad we got through it, and you know, we've met our goal here, so, is to get below the default, so. Hope everybody has a good night, and I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.